Come here, Ellie. Really quickly, let's bring you on the podcast here. And Oscar, what did you like most about traveling in the USA?
Disney World.
Disney World.
I like rides.
Rides. There you have it.
You're listening to the Zero to Travel podcast, where we explore exciting travel-based work, lifestyle, and business opportunities, helping you to achieve your wildest travel dreams. And now your host, world wanderer and travel junkie, Jason Moore.
Hey, what's up? It's Jason with ZeroToTravel.com. Welcome to the show, my friend. Thanks for hanging out, letting me bring a little travel into your ears today. This is the show to help you travel the world on your terms, to fill your life with as much travel as you desire, no matter what your situation or experience. I am sitting on the couch in my backyard with what is apparently the hardest guest to book. You know, originally I was set to interview Brad Pitt right at this moment. It was going to be a big tell-all. We were going to go deep on his life, and it was going to be huge. But you know what? My guest today, this was the only time I could really get her. So I had to say, sorry, Mr. Pitt, I can't do this because I've got my lovely wife, Anne Dorthe, here to talk about our trip to America. Anne Dorthe, welcome back to the show, my friend.
Thank you.
You are so tough to get on this podcast, even though I see you almost 24 hours a day.
That's true.
Nowadays.
Busy.
Anyway. Oh, it's busy. By the way, give a little, we got some wind chimes that we brought back to the States. Can you give us a little, since you're sitting there, put the microphone up to there. We went to a Zen garden in, a Japanese garden in Portland. That's good. Those are nice. And we got these wonderful wind chimes that are based off the intro notes to Amazing Grace. Now they're hanging up here. So anyway, if you hear some chimes in the background, welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Good.
Yeah?
How are you? Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. We're doing that really good parenting thing where our kids are sitting in front of the TV watching a movie while we record this because it's summer holiday. I'll get into why I wanted you to create this list. But for those folks from the U.S. who are listening to this, this might be an opportunity to maybe see your country in a new light. Maybe Anne Dorthe will, being from Norway, she might be seeing things that we don't normally see when we're in our home country. And maybe we can gain a new appreciation for some of the aspects of traveling at home if you're from the States. And for those of you listening outside of the States, maybe this will be giving you some reasons to visit or just some food for thought. So quickly, do you want to outline our trip just briefly?
Yeah. So in end of May, we traveled to the U.S. and we went to Florida to visit your family. And we have been in the States for almost 6 weeks, 5.5 weeks. And most of the time was spent in Florida for the kids the whole time. And we went to lovely Portland, Oregon for 6 days. But this time I was mostly because of seeing family, which was very nice.
Yeah. I just want to give you a little bit of context of what we're talking about. Almost 6 weeks in the States, mostly in Florida. Anne Dorthe and I, like she said, got a quick jaunt to Portland, Oregon. So we're going to get into this list. First, I do want to give a shout out to a listener who left me a message about her long-term plan for a life of travel with her husband, which they can't live out quite yet. But in the meantime, they've created what I think is a great plan for getting their travel fix before they take off for good. And this might be something to think about if you're somebody listening who maybe you're saving for a big trip, like you're going to take a gap year or you're going to spend a year traveling around the world. And it might take you a few years to save up for a trip like that. But, you don't want to just not travel in between. So she's going to share an idea around that. Now, I want to play this voicemail from Zero to Travel podcast listener Donna, checking in from down under. Here's what she had to say.
Hi, Jason. It's Donna from Perth, Western Australia. I've been listening to your podcast for the last 2 years, and they have really set me on fire. Thank you. I just got to say thank you to you and all your guests that you have on. Such an inspiration. Well, I'm 55. My husband's 57, and I gave up my full-time job as an early childhood teaching assistant and have started some, little side hustles that hopefully will now give me the flexibility to do more travel and with my husband. But he's still 5-7 years off retiring, and I'm just happy as a pig in mud doing what I'm doing. But he's going off to work every day, just seeing out his last 7 years of work. So I've created a schedule that's on our fridge now that every year we have a holiday. So I'll alternate between a short holiday. Now we're just going to go off to Lombok for 2 or 3 weeks. The year after that, we'll disappear for 6 weeks and go to Vietnam. The year after that, we'll do another little short 2 or 3 week holiday. After that, we'll do another big long holiday, etc. for the next couple of years. Then we will be retired, the ultimate long holidays. But why wait till then? So we've started now. Okay, I just got to say thank you once again. I'm running out of time. Bye now.
Love that. Love to hear the sounds of Australia like that.
Yes.
Thank
It's
you.
great.
Thanks, Donna. It sounds like alternating between the short and long holidays is something that's going to allow you to keep saving for retirement and still travel. And that seems like a great balance for you. And I feel like everybody has to find that balance, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's a part of life, working for
Yeah.
most of us. And but it's nice to have a plan like that and to have something to look forward to, which sounds like they have a really good plan.
Yeah, I think one of the tricks too is just having those travel and life experiences without going broke.
Yeah.
We spent quite a bit of money, I'd say, in the States, and there's inflationary reasons and things like that. But we were prioritizing this experience this summer with our family.
Yeah. We had decided beforehand that we were going to spend some money and spend time together. And that's what we have done. And probably also gained too much because we've eaten too much ice cream. But I think it's smart to have, if you're traveling with somebody, for example, your spouse, or you should talk about budget. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, what are we willing to spend and why? And we both decided that this was a trip that we were okay with spending some money, and we saved up. We haven't really traveled much during Corona, so it was a reason to have fun and do a lot of things with our kids, which has been great.
Yeah, thanks. I hadn't thought about bringing this up, but I do think what you said is an important point. The double intention, the dual intention we had, one, to spend time with family. So we created space, mental space and actual space through our, like, you took a leave of absence from your work. I left some my own business behind, and we just created the space for ourselves for this time together. And then the intention you mentioned behind, I think it was just more of a mindset for me, like, hey, we're going to spend some money on this. We're going to spend some thousands of dollars, and I'm totally cool with that. Like, I want to have this experience with my family. We're not going to go broke. We can afford to do it right now. And I think, at least for me, when I have that intention, that mindset of like, hey, I'm just going to like enjoy some of the fruits of my labor and not think too much about what I'm spending. Not like I'm going to foolishly, start throwing money all around and just wasting it. But you know what I mean? Just enjoying it as opposed to worrying about it.
Yeah, and we talked about it. It has been probably, like you say, the mindset that you have decided that, so you don't panic when you see like, oh my gosh, we've used so much money. But we had a mutual agreement on that it's okay that we are spending some money.
Yeah. Gonna have some fun with it. Well, we did have a lot of travel experiences, and let's talk about this list of yours. Our trip, you heard a bit of context around our trip. We did go to Disney World. We did spend time in Fort Myers, Florida with family, and we did go to Portland, Oregon. And I asked you to put together this list for a couple reasons. First of all, I was really curious in general about how you see America as a foreigner, even though you're married to me and we've been married for years and you've been to America multiple times. You're still a foreigner. I mean, you're from Norway. You're still seeing it with different eyes, right? And so I thought it'd be super fun to hear your take and riff on these things a bit. And then secondly, I just thought it would be fun to share this with listeners here to see if they, maybe agree or disagree with any of your points, if this sparks any new perspectives for them, maybe creates new appreciations, like I said at the top, just to see. And also for me, maybe this will help me see some of the things from my own home country. I come from the U.S. with fresh eyes. So you can tell me about your list and how you created it, and then let's get into it if you don't mind.
Well, it was a fun challenge. And this is not based only on the trip we had now. This is based on my experience with being in America several times now. I love America. It's a lot of things to love America for. Unfortunately, there are some things that is not that great too, which is in every country. Yeah. And this is not to discuss politics, obviously.
It's all subjective.
Yeah,
right?
It's subjective. And in this episode, we're focusing on the positive about America, not like the topics that are really like politics, like a lot of things that I don't really understand. But this is about the positive things.
Yeah.
So
we're gonna have some fun with this.
Yeah. So it's the top 6 things for me that I think is the best about traveling in America.
Okay. You want to lay it on us? This is sort of ranked, right? I mean, this ranking could change tomorrow, but we kind of you did it from 6 to 1. I don't know the list, by the way. That's what makes this fun, because you're going to reveal this in real time, and then we can just kind of talk about it.
Yep.
You want to give us your number 6?
Yep. It's kind of probably weird, but if you've been to Europe, you will probably understand it. This is something Americans should be very proud of and very glad that you have. Mm-hmm. And that's available toilets and restrooms everywhere.
Yes.
It is great, especially for me and our family, I think, because we are going to the bathroom all the time.
All the time. It's ridiculous.
With kids, it's really, really nice. But it's also like here in Norway and also in Europe, it can be hard to find like a toilet when you're out.
Annoyingly hard.
Yeah, and you have to pay for it. And I feel like that's like a thing in America that it's really available and it's free and it's normally clean and nice. Yeah, it's great, especially also when you're traveling. You want to be able to easily have access to bathrooms.
Yeah, I mean, every human needs to go to the bathroom, so it always boggles my mind in Europe how progressive they are, whatever, I'm using air quotes, that they just can't more easily provide this basic need. At the Oslo City Mall, for example, it's a mall. You go, it's a shopping mall. You have to pay, what is it now?
I think
25 crowns?
Yeah, like $2 maybe.
It's like $2 or $3 to go to the bathroom. And we went to an outlet mall, Sanibel Outlets near Sanibel Island in Florida, and they specifically say in the sign, there's bathrooms in every store. Yep. They're like letting you know, hey, it's okay to go to the bathroom in any store. We even went into a luggage store, and I'm like, there can't be a bathroom here. It's nothing but luggage. And then our daughter had to go to the bathroom. Big surprise. And they opened the back door, and there we were with the boxes and things. We were in the bathroom. So interesting. On your list, bathrooms.
Yeah, well, like you said, everybody have to go.
Toilet talk, potty humor.
No, it's not humor.
No, I know.
It's necessary.
It is. It is a very nice part about it. People are like, all right, I thought you were going to give us some reasons to travel to America. We're not traveling to America just for the bathrooms, are we?
Oh, no. That's why it's probably number 6 of the top 6.
That's good, though. I like it, and I agree.
Yeah. So now my number 5 is the diversity in landscape that you have in America. You can experience beaches and really, really nice beaches and awesome forests and mountains. You have deserts. You have the flat landscape. You have everything. And I really like and value that.
It's a huge country. It is overwhelming almost when you're thinking about the diversity of landscape and being intentional with what you want to do with your time. So if you're listening to this and you're planning a trip around the States.
Yeah, you can go on like a beach holiday. You can go on a fjord cruise up in Alaska. You can go skiing in the mountains. You can have the total flat landscape.
Yeah.
You can go hiking. You can
It's pretty incredible.
get everything in
Just
a way.
watch Forrest Gump run across America. And
Yeah. Yeah. And the time, like, you can also, like, you can live in Colorado in the winter, for example, and you go to one of the coasts and you have the summer,
Yeah.
which is, of course, like, America is a huge country. So, but I think it's a very nice thing about
Absolutely.
the U.S.
100% agree. And it's one of my favorite places. I think it is my favorite place to travel overland because you just see that gradual change over days. And I've driven from San Francisco to New York, for example. I've crisscrossed it every which way for many years, and it never ceases to amaze me. The sunsets and the desert landscapes and the mountains and the, like you said, the prairies and the Midwest and everything. I love that that's on your list.
Yeah.
Too. Okay. Moving on.
Number 4.
All right.
It's helpful and nice people. For the most, I think Americans are really nice people.
Props to the people.
Yes. Americans are, in general, very nice. They go out of their way many, many times. I've experienced that. Very helpful. Are interested. I find the American people very friendly. For the most.
Yeah, I mean, of course.
You can always experience some that is not. But I think if you go to America, you will experience that people are very friendly.
Yeah, right. Was there like an interaction or two that stands out that made you think of this?
I just feel like every time I'm in the U.S., you always meet somebody that is very nice. Like, I remember I told you that the first experience with America for me was New York. And I know you say that it's not necessarily known for being the most friendly on the East Coast.
Yeah.
But I remember the first time there, and also my family, that we thought it was very friendly.
Yeah.
On
Yeah,
that side
it is.
of, and
It's a different kind of friendly. It's like
but
an angry friendly.
and since I'm married to you now, I understand how that is.
Well, it's just in New York. You have to know the New York way.
Yeah.
So.
But I have experienced, like, one time we were in Washington and it was like a snowstorm, and this policeman came and like help, like he tried to save me. He was like, "You have to go inside," and like super friendly and nice,
looking out for you,
looking out for me. In stores, people are friendly, and I think also it's something in the culture you use more, maybe a little bit more formal tone than we are having here in Northern Europe.
I mean, I've heard it. People say, they think, or like Europeans say that Americans are, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here, I guess, and just get the other side, like that Americans are, it's like fake friendly. Like they're like, how you doing? And that's just,
feel that. I feel like it's genuinely, like, genuine. But of course, genuine, sorry. But of course, I don't know. Maybe it's.
I agree with you. I think it's genuine. I just think they misinterpret there's a certain jargon that is used in every language, right? One of the things that we say in America is like, "Oh, how you doing?"
Yeah.
And they're like, and people here might say, not necessarily in Norway, but I've talked to Europeans where they say, "Hey," like they're saying how you doing, but they don't really care how you're doing. It's like, well, no, that's just kind of like a greeting. It's like saying hello. Yeah. You're taking it too literally. It's just the expression that they use to kind of greet you. And sometimes you'd say, like, I find that Americans can be really engaging with the conversation and are willing to go deeper than the surface level pretty quickly. For example, we were standing in line at the airport on our way to Portland, and the woman in front of us, I don't even remember how we started. Did we even start talking to her? Or we just might have asked a question like, is this I don't even know.
Yeah, we were standing in line and they were.
She was just behind us. She's like, we said like one thing, I think. I don't even remember. It might have been just like, oh, yeah, it's good to have some coffee now or something. Who knows? She was like, oh, I just have to tell some. Can I tell you something? And she's standing there. She was probably about 70, maybe 65.
60, 70,
and she's standing there with a man who's probably 50 or whatever, 55 maybe. She's like, this is my biological son, and we only just met like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And now we've reconnected, and like he's just like super happy with his birth parents, and now we're going to see, and it was like a whole story. And
Yeah,
we
it
were
was
just like,
very
wow,
sweet.
oh my gosh. And it was
Yeah.
like, I can't believe this woman's just opening up about this totally personal thing that's going on in her life. And
Yeah.
I mean, that he seemed like kind of like, yeah, Ma, you know, but she's like, I had him when I was 16 and I didn't know what to do. So I'm so grateful that the adoptive parents, like raised him, and he's had a good life. And he's like, oh yeah, I have. And, you know, and it was just like they're mother and son, but they'd only had spent
Yeah, a couple of
the
years.
last couple of years together,
Yeah.
and probably, you know, when they can see each other, I don't know how much time they've spent together, but it was like a 5-minute interaction, and we got a serious story about their life. And that was just in an airport security line.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it was. And it was sweet. And it wasn't like that she wanted any attention for it. It was just like she was so happy. She needed to tell, which was very sweet.
yes. All right. Our kids are talking to us now. Since they're here, we might as well bring Ellie out and Oscar. Come here, Ellie. Really quickly, let's bring you on the podcast here. And Oscar, what did you like most about traveling in the USA?
Disney World.
Disney World.
Yeah.
I like rice.
Rides. There you have it. Disney
That
World
was
and
fun.
rides. And your family, right? Spending time with your mommy and daddy. Right? Yeah. I have to just like plan it into their subconscious. Okay. Mama's got number 3 on
Yep.
her list.
Number 3. It's not a surprise for you, but it might be surprisingly for listeners.
Okay. Now I'm curious.
It's American grocery stores.
Oh, yeah.
One of my big favorite thing to go to in America.
It's not the Grand Canyon. It's not New
Oh,
York.
yeah.
No, I'm kidding. It's the Publix in South Florida.
No, it's not. But it's just the selection is
off the chain, yo.
and it's also fun because it's like people watching, and it's like, yeah, and it's a lot of things that we don't have in Norway, so it's fun. I can spend a lot of time there. I just like it.
Listen, I don't find this weird at all, and I don't think listeners will find this weird if you think about it, because, well, you can weigh in and let us know. I always have a link to the voicemail box, so leave a message if you'd like about this. But I know when I go to a foreign country, I love going to the grocery stores.
Yeah, I love it in other countries too.
Yeah.
It's just that in America they're like so huge, and like the selection.
like another
but I also love it in like small stores in Greece, or like, you know, I love it in
Absolutely.
Germany, and
Yeah.
you know, I like it in other countries too. But it's something special about the American grocery stores.
Absolutely. And it is next level. Even for me, going back, well, here's a funny story. So when we first got there, we stayed with my dad in Fort Myers for 13 days, my dad and my stepmom. And, you know, we had to sort of get our supplies. We had to get some things from the grocery store. And my dad, he usually drives to the store, and then my stepmom, Alicia, will go in and he'll like wait out in the car. So he drove me to the store because we were all in the same car. It was just me and him. And I'm like, I'll just run in and get some things just to kind of get us going for the first couple days. Of course, I was in there for like a half hour. And he's like, well, what took you so long? Well, first of all, when I've been out of my home country for a long time and I come back to the store, it's always totally shocking and overwhelming, and just like, wow, it's like kid in a candy store. Like, first of all, what new products are there? There's like 15 different kinds of peanut butter and cheese nips, and you can get like, you know, extra toasty Cheez-Its and regular Cheez-Its and Cheez-Its with low, you know, it's like, it's unbelievable. And that's just the Cheez-Its. I mean, it's just so much stuff. So they come out with new things, and then they have like my favorite things, and you're just looking around like, oh my gosh, what do I want? This is crazy. I haven't gotten to have any of this food. And then also just the practicality of, well, how big they are.
Yeah. You
So-
need a map almost.
Yeah, so
like,
I was like trying to explain to my dad, well, you know, I forgot one thing, so I had to go back all the way to the other side of the store that I was on. That's like a half a mile walk.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I'm exaggerating, of course, but you know, so if you do that a few times and you don't know where anything is because it's not the store you go to, You walk like 3 miles in the store just to get all the things you need. Anyway, grocery stores. I love that that's on your list. By the way, outside of America, what is your favorite place to go?
In grocery stores?
Yeah. Do you have one?
Germany, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Germany have great grocery stores.
All right, we're getting down to number 2 and 1. Drum roll, please. Well, we shouldn't do that to 1. Yeah.
Well, number 2 is that I love the small towns in America.
Oh. Just a small town girl.
Exactly, because I am a small town girl.
You are. How many people come from your town? You should let people know. Your
Like 1,200.
1,200 people. Itty bitty, teeny weeny town. Ain't it all? But it's got some beauty.
It's a beautiful place.
Beautiful place.
And that's probably also because I feel home or something, but
Yeah.
I love the mountain towns, the small mountain towns.
Okay, yeah.
But I
we
love
didn't get to hit any on this trip, but
no, not the mountains town,
Yeah.
but just like road tripping in America and go to small towns
yeah.
is amazing, I think.
Is it the charm?
Yeah, it's charming and it's
Why?
I like the same thing here. I don't know. I love the cities too, but I think like I love the architecture. I love like going to like the gas station and just see like, they like kind of them, for some of them are like totally beaten up and
Yeah.
like, then they can have some quirky small shops and
Yes.
restaurants.
Yeah.
And yeah, I like the small places.
Mm.
I think it's very charming.
Yeah, and they're like, I think quirky was a great word.
And you can find some really treasures, I think. Like, you can find, like, cool bars that are unique. Like, I remember, I think it was in Steamboat.
Yeah.
In Colorado, we went to this bar, which was, like, totally fun and weird. And
sort of divey.
yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of that place.
And you can find, like, thrift stores that have, like, really cool things. It's genuine and yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's funky. Portland, I think, is the definition of funky from a city perspective. I one of the reasons why I kind of thought about this when we were walking around Portland, I think we talked about it. We were cruising the strip on one of those strips. Just did a lot of walking there, which I love, just wandering around cities. But, they fight hard against chains, big chains and big companies, I feel, in Portland, Oregon, and some cities like that.
I think
and
everybody does.
Yeah, so consequently, you get a lot of independently owned businesses. And when you stack a series of independently owned businesses and pack them into a city, it becomes as unique and as funky and as eclectic as each individual human is, right? Because everybody's bringing their own unique experience to their business.
Yeah.
And the homogeny of like Starbucks or something like that, where it's just, it's going to kind of like look and feel the same everywhere. Well, it's going to be completely different based on those business owners' personalities. So you jam all that together and it just makes for a very unique place.
Yeah. So support local businesses.
Yeah.
It's important.
All right. Number 1.
Number 1. It is the American National Parks and reservoirs. Is that what you call it?
Just the natural areas that are protected, you could say, right? I mean, there's a lot of
forests.
Yeah.
I love that. It's
There's national parks and national forests and different
Yeah.
protected areas, and
I love that. That's my top number
nature.
1 thing.
the protected nature
Yeah.
areas.
Yeah. The national parks. We've been to a few. I know you've been to more than me, obviously, but I just think it's so important for America to keep that, to take care of it, and not fall for the tempest of like selling out land, for example, because it's so important to keep it. And also, like, I think I remember the first time we went to the Rocky Mountain National Park, for me, it was a little surprising but I understand that it's so big, but you have paved roads, for example, in, which is not normal here. But I understand it in the way of like having it as an access to all people, and I think that is very important too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's it's like pearls in America is the national parks, and I love going to them.
Yeah. And I mean, there's even small areas
You know,
throughout.
yeah.
You know, like we went to the slough, the slough. I forget how you pronounce it. It's,
That's why
where
I
you-
didn't say only national parks, but also the forests and the reservoir. Is that what you call it?
Yeah, the reserves and the I'm even blanking out on some of this because I started speaking Norwegian for the first time in a while when I came back, and now I'm starting to forget some English words. But the slough was a good example of it. Just a small, like our dad and stepmom took us there first, where you walk and they built these planks that run through essentially like sort of cypress tree, like swampy type thing. Not swampy, but it's these trees are growing out of the water, and they have an elevated walkway, and you can see like birds and frogs and lizards and alligators and things like that. And it's just really cool how they built this, because nobody's going to put on, you're not going to like swim through that or wade through miles of hot, so the fact that they built these wooden boardwalks to go and take you into this forest that you wouldn't really be accessible. And that's just a small little reserve area, but it's still fairly big. And there's just so many little places like that, I feel, even outside of just the major sort of highlight national parks. I think Yosemite and Grand Canyon and those big ones. But there's a lot of small little gems that are just small preserves.
Yeah,
That's
what it was.
Preserves and, national forests and things like that. They're a bit off the beaten track. So nice list, buddy.
Yeah, that's my top
Let's
6.
recap. Let me recap this. Number 6, the toilets. Number 5, the landscapes. Number 4, the people. I'm glad the people were in front of the toilets, Anne Dorthe, because you are married to an American man.
I know. Maybe it should be higher up. I don't know.
The grocery stores were higher than the people, though. Number 3.
I don't know. Maybe I should maybe they are.
I know.
mixed up.
I made you sort of rank it at the last minute, but I understand. You're just talking about the experience. You're not. Number
I'm
2,
an introvert.
Number 2 is the small towns, and number 1 is the protected nature areas. I don't see food on this list, AD.
No, well,
I mean, what about the ice cream places? What about those big portions that
I don't
people say that's a
love
negative or a positive, depending on how you look at it? Gigantic portions.
I like that you have doggy bags. But yeah, this wasn't about. We can probably make an episode with just food.
Yeah.
This is my top 6.
Yeah.
And of course, like, you can fill it in with like, oh, I like going to the small towns and try out different small restaurants and stuff. That can be a thing. But we also had some bad experience with that. So no, it's not about the food this time, but you can build it into the grocery stores where you can buy food and you have a huge selection. Ice cream. We had some really good ice cream, especially in Portland. Salt and Straw was
dynamite.
That was so good. Also, Love Boat in Fort Myers, Florida.
Yeah.
It's good. Shout out to them. I really appreciate the small places and the nature. That's
yeah. And by the way, we forgot to mention at the top, we said that we both agreed when you were going to make this list that it was a given that family would have been, seeing the family and being reconnected with them was the whole reason we went.
Yeah.
So we didn't put that on the list because that was just a given. We didn't want to eat up a spot with the family because that was the number one reason we went.
Yeah,
and it was so wonderful to see everybody. So if you're all listening, it's great to see you. Thanks for the hospitality.
Absolutely.
Anne Dorthe, one of the things that people do love, I find about you coming on the show, particularly my family, is that you usually make fun of me or tell some embarrassing stories. Do you have anything to share before we let you go? I feel like I just made it through a podcast without you getting too many digs on me, really any digs at all. So I feel pretty lucky.
Trying to be a good girl.
Wow.
I
She's at a loss for words once.
I am.
Well, we had a good time and a lot of laughs. I'd say,
It was a great trip.
along the way.
And America is a great country. Just fix your politics a little bit.
All right. So here we go. A Norwegian's top 6 reasons to love traveling in the USA. Let's hear yours, whether you're from the States or not. I'd love for you to add to this list. You can drop me a line, jason@zerototravel.com, anytime, or you can click that link in every show notes. It goes right to the voicemail box. No email required. You just leave a 90-second voicemail. Of course, if you haven't jumped on the list, zerototravel.com. Keep in touch with all of the good stuff off the podcasts. And I got some new projects in the works that are brewing, so I want to keep you posted on those as well. If you listen to the show, you want to stay in touch, we'd love to have you on the free newsletter there. Anne Dorthe, I have asked you to kindly provide the quote for this show. I do not have a quote, but I like to close out with a nice, thoughtful quote. And I'm going to turn it over to you to leave us with that.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you've told that we also have a very nice Zen calendar. So
Wisdom from the East.
Yes.
Love that calendar.
It's not travel related. It's just in general, but I think it's something we all have to remember when things aren't going so great, maybe, or we have done something and feel like we have failed, and that you should be kind to yourself. The quote is like this: our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall.
Love it. We'll leave you with that. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you next time.
Bye.
This podcast has been brought to you by zerototravel.com. Ideas and advice to make your travel dreams a reality.